Part 5. Cognitive Interplay. The entry and exit mechanisms between the superset of sub-questions and the unbounded meta-question institutes a cognitive economy across iconoclastic and dogmatic modes of thought. Intellectual conviction instantiates an identity for the philosophical subject. To cast judgment in this way is inherently dogmatic. A sub-question decays and becomes unfashionable as agents of the meta-question challenge its presupposed foundationals, causing it to crumble like a besieged fortress. Dogmatists defect, scattering out of their lost cause. These defectors join adjacent sub-questions in membership or recalcify their dogmatic thinking creatively into new sub-questions. A rare occurrence for the cognitive subject possessed by a dogmatic mode is to truly exit. This can occur by adopting the iconoclastic mode. This exit results in the ultimate defection into destructive cognition. Utilizing the aggressive philosophical energy of the meta-question, they join the exceptional ranks of the iconoclasts. This seems, practically, as if it can only be endured for a limited time. All human philosophical subjects must eventually make a judgment to arrive anywhere intellectually, and so retire back to the sub-questions. The iconoclast is intellectually analogous to the archetypal trickster. This makes them an agent, cognitively speaking, of entropy and mutation, which balances the excesses of dogmatic order. Self-reinforcement of thought is corrected and rebuked by the truth of iconoclastic suspension of judgment. Pure philosophy, iconoclastic cognition, is a bolt of lightning which re-energizes mentally obese, fallen states. This is, however, not a ubiquitously positive or negative thing. The destruction of intellectual certainty can bring down an excess of cognitive order and liberate forbidden thought, but can also lead to the absurdities of anti-human nature of relativism and nihilism. The iconoclast performs a necessary function in tearing down corrupted or useless intellectual structures, yet also leads us in that ultimate skepticism of the Pharaonian tradition. This whirlwind of destructive and untethered thinking de-anthropomorphizes cognitive possibilities, stripping the human subject of the calming backdrop of certainty. For the human subject, this mode of inquiry can invoke crises of meaning and anxious melancholy. The dogmatist, on the other hand, can serve as a sobering influence. Dogmatic presuppositions ground cognitive activity so that the sub-questions, which are capable of utility or invocation of meaning, can be elucidated and developed. It is constructive dogmatic activity which has built the great intellectual cathedrals of science, religion, and the schools of philosophical thought. These triumphs, however, come with the price of a necessary close-mindedness, resulting from the fact that dogmatic inquiry has bounded cognition as a necessary prerequisite. In the intellectual economy, this lends itself to constructive inquiry, albeit with a tendency to corrupt honest thought and encourage an obsessively myopic cognitive frame. The dogmatist often can't see the forest for the trees. The tale of Icarus is a parable of iconoclasm. The iconoclast is blinded by the light of intellectual glory through their exceptional nature, vainly flying too close to the unattainable sun of pure philosophizing, the complete understanding of the meta-question. In contrast, the dogmatist, who is intellectually trapped within their sub-question, wants to force the infinite meta-question into a fixed categorical structure. The dogmatic parable is the Tower of Babel. Its construction an act of headstrong hubris, projecting an excess of order, certainty, and simplification onto a multiplicity which has none. The intellectual lethargy and extravagant corruption of the Catholic Church called out for the emergence of the iconoclast in the form of Luther. This iconoclastic rebellion against the unified church in turn then regathered into a multiplicity of diverse alternate religious sub-questions through the Reformation. This followed the cycle of intellectual economy and eventually returned to dogmatic certainty through the various Protestant sects. Superstition and supernatural metaphysics have made humanity blind for millennia, calling out for the dogmatic utilitarian sight of scientific inquiry, which is only made possible through the assertive certainty of materialist dogmatism. The zeitgeist calls for acts of iconoclasm and dogmatism according to the state of the intellectual economy. This presents a constant question in regards to our cognitive praxis. Which mode should we employ in the present?